What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, feeling helpless. Obviously, given the times we're in right now and the uncertainty that seems to have been going on for quite some time, more and more people are feeling helpless. Now, I know that because I talk to people on a daily basis, on a personal level and professional level, and it seems that everyone feels as if their mental health is deteriorating, that their income is not enough, or they don't even have a means of generating an income anymore, and they just do not feel certain about the future anymore with all the events that are taking place around the world. And because of all of these things that are external to them, they feel helpless. They feel that they are not in control of their time, energy, or destiny. And that is frustrating to them. And it is palpable. I've been there. I understand the feeling. I know what it's like to be completely at the mercy of life and perhaps others, and just really fitting into someone else's frame rather than operating out of mine. So I definitely do sympathize and empathize. Now, I find that the most common thing that everyone that feels helpless has is that lack of agency. They feel that they are on the receiving end of things and that they have to wait for things to be handed to them and that life happens to them. In a lot of ways, it's a very infantile like state. And when I think about it, it's not really their fault because since the beginning of our lives, we are infantilized, starting off with the parents, moving on to the schooling system, then working a job. In effect, you're always looking for someone outside of yourself or some sort of institution or entity to do two things. One, to give you instructions, and two, to provide you with your needs, be it housing, clothing, shelter, and obviously enough money for you to pursue your hobbies and activities and whatnot. So it is no wonder that most people feel so helpless. The whole cycle of life from the beginning is instituted and established in such a way that an individual doesn't necessarily have a sense of agency, nor has a sense of internal locus of control. So, for the people out there that feel helpless, what is the solution? First of all, I said first of all, but understand that the first aspect of this is being aware that your state is not permanent and that you were shaped to be that way to fit into society. So once you understand that, it can help you take in a deep breath and exhale a sigh of relief to know that it's not that you are lacking anything as an individual, but rather that you have been conditioned from the beginning to look outside of yourself. And when the source, in this case, could have been your parents, the institution you work for, the country you live in, stops delivering on that promise that you have been conditioned into from a young age, that's where that sense of helplessness then comes in. Because you were taken care of and you are no longer being taken care of. So first thing is you need to be aware of that fact, okay? That the sense of helplessness is not because you lack something, because you're not capable. It's because of the way you've lived to date, okay? And in a lot of way, you've done it unconsciously for so long that now that the system, whatever it may be, is not taking care of you or meeting your needs anymore, you are in shock. And you're experiencing this shock as a sense of helplessness. All right, next is you need to start taking control of your life. Okay? You need to stop being an external locus of control kind of person, meaning looking for others or entities outside of yourself for solutions to your problems, and rather take ownership of these problems and take control of the solutions to these problems by sitting down and figuring out how you're going to resolve these problems. Okay? So to give you an example of that, during my career, I've been fired, I've been laid off, and eventually I realized I just do not want to live that way. I do not want to leave my income at the hands of others. I do not want to live at the whim of someone else. I don't want anyone else to determine my value. And it took me a few years to break out of this habit of just looking outside of myself for what I need. And basically what happened is it was a process of trial and error, and I basically kept trying, failing, and stopping, becoming lazy, getting weak, surrendering, trying to get back into a job that I hated. And what happened, just eventually I got fed up. And my life got so hard to the point that I just felt I don't have anything to lose. And it was at that moment when I took control off of my life. And that entailed being disciplined, taking ownership of everything that goes wrong and right, also being much better at my time management, setting a direction for myself, setting my goals and the steps I will take to accomplish them and the timelines. And basically, I treated myself as if I was a business and I'm the CEO of this business. And by no means or stretch of the imagination was it easy off of the get-go. No, it was challenging. There was quite a bit of failure and quite a bit of bordering on, well, not bordering, actual couch surfing, hitting zero in the bank account. And basically the reason I bring this up is that you need to go through this transition, okay? Back then, I didn't know what the future holds. All I knew is that I just couldn't be in a corporate job or be an employee anymore, that I couldn't be at the mercy of someone else. And even though I've lived for so long being conditioned and believing that if I worked hard, if I did the right things, that I'll get rewarded for it, that was not the case. It happens for some people. For me, it didn't, which is what was a wake-up call for me at the time to move into entrepreneurship. And yes, after experiencing all of that heartache and headache, I did feel helpless. And the only way for me to recover from this sense of helplessness was to take control of my life effectively, become the CEO of my life and myself. So whatever it is you're going through right now that's giving you a sense of helplessness, the best and quickest way to deal with this is to take full accountability and ownership. Even if the problem that you're dealing with wasn't of your creation, it was someone else's, but you find yourself stuck having to deal with it, which is a very hard pill to swallow. I've been there multiple times. Unfortunately, you have no choice but to deal with it, okay? And the easiest way is to basically take full accountability, full responsibility. And what you need to do is, and this for me was very hard to do, but it's what you need to do and what works effectively. You need to shut your feelings off. Those feelings of depression, sadness, anger, rumination, feelings of not being adequate, the feelings of fear of the uncertainty and the future. You need to shut all of this off by force, okay? And if you can shut it off, that's fine, but you need to ignore it. You need to ignore that voice in the background that tells you you can't and you should be scared. And instead, put down an action plan in the form of steps and timelines of what you hope to achieve and accomplish, and get to work on this. The best way to defeat a sense of helplessness is by taking action. And if you have your actions jotted out with timelines and what exactly you need to do to fulfill objectives at different timelines with different milestones, something miraculous happens. One, you are so busy with executing on the actions you said you would that you don't have time to entertain that voice of uncertainty and fear in the back of your head, assuming you can even hear it anymore, because now you're thinking through and acting on how you're going to execute. Okay? And secondly, the more you act, the luckier you get. Okay, so the more you do, the luckier you get. So once you have your action plan, your timelines, your milestones, your objectives, and you get busy with doing, you might not get the results you're looking for right away. But the more you do, the more you execute, the more successful you're going to become in terms of, lucking out on an opportunity that pays you. And really, when it comes down to it, it is as simple as that. If you want to get over this sense of helplessness, take action. Take full accountability, take full responsibility for yourself, and take action. Okay? You don't have to necessarily know off of the get-go what is it that you need to do. Jot down the top 5 ideas or things that you think you may be interested in, or you might be good at, or you might want to do, or things that you wanted to always do but left out to pursue a career or whatever. Put it down on paper and start trying to execute on these 5 ideas. And it's okay. Go through it by trial and error. If you can afford to get books or a mentor to read to help you along the way, there's a ton of free materials on YouTube and online using Google. So you have a lot of free education out there. But don't be scared to make mistakes, okay? You've already made the biggest mistake, and that's putting your life in the hands of someone else. And it's cost you time and money and energy and your mental health. Okay, so the biggest mistake in your life has already taken place. Any mistake moving forward, you are taking or happening because you want to better yourself, and your circumstance and situation is nothing compared to the biggest mistake of your life, which was handing your life to someone else. Okay, so if you feel helpless, don't despair. You are not helpless. You are more capable than you could ever imagine. You just never took the time or the opportunity to discover that. I promise you, I'm a living example of that. I've been through it. I've been through it. And as long as you persevere and take action, there's always a way out. All right? So if you guys enjoyed this content, consider subscribing to the channel, giving me a thumbs up, and turning the notification button on so you are aware when I do upload to the channel. Also, I do have a Calendly link in the description box for those of you that would like to work with me one-on-one in terms of achieving your self-improvement goals, dieting and fitness, or wealth generation. So in the case of this upload, if you do want to put a plan together to help get you out of this sense of helplessness and sense of not being able to take control of your life, I can certainly help you with that, having been there and succeeded in coming out on the other side. So feel free to book your time slot below. With that said, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. As per usual, very much appreciate your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.